Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new on my channel, then welcome. It feels so weird sitting in front of the camera again because I haven't done that in a while. It's been quite a while since I last filmed, but anyway, I'm finally back with a new video, and today we are going to be doing a full face of makeup using the products that are pretty much just kind of they're just in my cupboards somewhere. I mean, if it's specifically some kind of product that I don't like, then I will let you know as I go along. But mainly it's just products that I used to use at one point and now I haven't used them in a while because they are kind of lackluster next to some of my other products that I reach for almost on a daily basis. The first order of business is to cover up those under eyes. So I'm going to use my old favorite, the Max Factor CC stick in the shade Dark. I mean, I used to use it straight from the stick and apply it underneath my eyes directly, but now I kind of rub it on my finger and apply it that way because it just warms up the product a bit more and makes it easier to apply. And also I am not dragging my under eye area as much. I feel like this brightens up the under eye area very well, but it's it's almost making it look stark white underneath my eyes. I don't know how I didn't notice that before. Well, I don't know, at least even if I did notice it, it didn't used to annoy me. Right now it looks a bit strange. I guess I'm just not used to it anymore. Next up, I'm going to use something underneath my foundation that I used to use as a primer all the time. Not necessarily on camera as much, but off camera I used it quite a bit. And it is the L'Oreal Nude Magique CC Cream in the shade Anti-Redness. So this is the green one. And I know this is not actually meant to be used as a primer. For me, it's just way too little coverage just on its own, so that is why I use this, just to kind of even out the skin tone and then go in with the foundation. I hope it's still okay. It seems to be okay. It's going on a bit funny though. It's almost like it feels like I'm putting on something really gritty on my face, which is weird. It's time to prime the eyelids, and I'm going to go into something that I haven't used in such a long time. I'm thinking this is probably expired. This is so old. It smelled fine, so I'm guessing it's okay, but I don't know. This is the MAC Select Cover Up Concealer. Just Corrector? Whatever. Anyway. And this is in the shade NC20, and I remember when I first got this, I used to use it underneath my eyes all the time. I thought it looked amazing. So we are going to use this concealer again today and hope that my eyes do not fall out of my eye sockets. To set the concealer on my eyes, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Photofocus Pressed Powder in the shade Warm Light. Ever since I got this one, I did not like this. I don't know what it is about this, I just don't like the way that it looks on my skin. So I very rarely use this powder. I only use it to set the concealer on my eyes, for instance, or the primer on my eyes or whatever. So that is pretty much the only way that I use this powder. Now that we have primed our face for like 30 minutes, it's time to jump into the eyeshadows, and I dug up something. I don't even know if you remember this, guys. Maybe some of you do if you have been watching my videos for a while. I did mention this, and I think I might have even used this in one of my videos. I got this while I was in the States. I swatched it in Ulta and I was mental. I thought this was one of the softest eyeshadow formulas I have ever touched, and I went nuts. So I bought this and I was super excited, and then when I got home and I finally tried this, I was so let down. I don't know, I just don't think that these shadows are anything spectacular. You kind of have to build them up, at least that's how I see. Like, the shimmers are not your blinding in your face shimmers. They are quite subtle. I don't want to be too harsh. The shadows really work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't think that this is like the greatest formula that I have ever used, and for that reason I don't really ever reach for this palette. There are so many amazing eyeshadow palettes to choose from now. The competition is so tough, the standards are higher, all that kind of stuff, so you know, it's tough, but it is what it is. So I'm going to first go in the shade Light Pink, and I'm going to put that in my crease. I had forgotten that the shadows are quite dusty as well, but I don't really mind. I don't really mind kick up and all that kind of stuff. I know some people do though. I think I'm going to do like a mauvey look today, something quite subtle. Next, I'm going to take the shade Mauve, and I'm going to put that in the same place. And I'm dragging this slightly down into the outer V. Going back with the previous brush to blend over the edges. Next, I'm taking the shade Sable, and I'm going to put that in my outer V and drag it very lightly in the crease as well. And I'm stopping somewhere halfway through. I'm not taking the colors into the inner corners. And now to finish off this very easy and very basic eye look, I'm going to take the shade Champagne, and I'm going to put that on the front part of the lid where we don't have any eyeshadow. Do you see what I mean when I say subtle? It's like a very slight sheen on the eyes. And you can't really see it all that well, just at a certain angle when the light hits your eye. It's that kind of look. And now going back in the shade Sable, I'm going to use that to intensify the outer corners. I'm going to clean up underneath my eyes and apply some mascara and falsies off camera because I don't really have a mascara and falsies that I do not use or that I do not like. So yeah, I'll do that quickly and then I'll come back here and we can move on with the rest of the face. Let's move on to the face. And oh, this is funny to talk about these two. Basically, one of them I don't have anything against. I actually quite like the formula. And the other one I just did not really like all that much. But I'm mixing those two together for color purposes, basically. I'm going to be using the Ordinary Serum Foundation in the shade 1.2 YG. This one I do like. Formula-wise, I have a whole video dedicated to this little thing, and I will link it on the screen as well if you are interested. I did like this. The only thing that I noticed was that it was way too yellow on me. Normally I do have a yellow undertone, but it is a slight yellow undertone, and this one was just straight up yellow on my face. So just on its own, I don't really use it. And the other one, this is the one that I do not like. It is the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Full Coverage Foundation, and this is in the shade True Ivory, and this is way too pink on me. I am going to mix this with the Ordinary and we will see what comes out because the formulas on these are so completely different. This is meant to be like full coverage, and this is meant to be like very light coverage because it's a lightweight formula. It's a serum foundation. Do you see how thick the Superstay is? It's just, it doesn't really move. The Ordinary is like almost like water. Okay, it's maybe a tad too light for me, but we can fix that with some bronzer. That's no biggie. I feel like formula-wise though, it's still looking a bit mask-like. It's still kind of heavy. I don't know, that's how it feels at least. I feel like I have foundation on my skin, which is not my favorite thing in a foundation. I mean, it doesn't look horrible by any means, but it's just a bit more heavy than I prefer. Now we're going back to the concealer that we used on the eyelids, and I'm going to put that underneath my eyes. See, like it brightened up my under eyes pretty much instantly, and it does cover very well. It's a very lightweight formula, it's very liquidy, but the coverage is great and it kind of dries down as well. So, I mean, I don't remember if I ever tried it without setting it, but it feels like something that wouldn't crease all that much, which is another bonus. I guess the only reason why I haven't really reached for it is because it's kind of a mess to apply. It's just much more easy to use something that comes in a tube. You can take the foundation straight on a wand and apply it under the eyes that way, and it's just easier. It's a bit less of a hassle. You don't have to clean up anything afterwards. Now for brows, I'm going to use something that I dug up and that I haven't used in such a long time. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Beauty Express for brows and eyes, and this is in the shade Brunette. This is so old, they don't even make these anymore. I can't even remember when I got this. It was years and years and years ago. You've got these stencils in here to use, then there's this sticky little thing that you can use to set down your eyebrow hairs, and then there are 2 shades of powder that you can use, a lighter one and a darker one, and then you also have 2 highlighting shades that you can use underneath the brow bone or in the inner corners or whatever you like. One of them is a shimmery one, like a champagne toned color, and the other one is this nude matte shade. Let me know if there is any of you watching that know this or that have seen this, have used this, whatever, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this. Okay, anyway, we are doing this. We are digging into the deep brown shade. I have already combed through my brows, by the way. Oh god, I don't even know if I know how to do this anymore. This is so strange. Okay, now we can set underneath the eyes because the concealer has been sitting there for quite a bit. I love this powder still. I just love the Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder more, so I don't reach for this almost at all anymore, which is a shame because it is a really, really good powder still. The RCMA No Color Powder is a classic. I try not to apply too much. Even though it says it's no color, I feel like it can get a bit too ashy looking if you apply too much. My foundation is creasing already. Oh god. Also, it's a bit of a mess using this one. The powder just goes everywhere because of the cap, which is a bit dodgy. So yeah, the powder flies everywhere. Whereas the Ethereal Setting Powder by Too Faced, it has a little stopper in there so that the powder doesn't go everywhere. It's yeah, anyway, you probably got the point. It's still good, I have something that I like even more. Next up, we should finish the lower lash line, and I don't want to do anything too crazy with the lower lash line. Taking the shade Mauve first and running that on my whole lower lid, and then taking the shade Sable, and I'm going to focus that closer to the lash line and just keeping it slightly more in the outer corner part of the eye. And now I also want to use something in my waterline that I haven't used in such a long time. It is the Essence Kajal pencil in the shade White. This is pretty much the eyes done. I just want to add a bit of brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight. So for those, I'm going to use the shade Nude. Now it's time to move on to the face, and first I want to use a highlighter that is probably the most subtle highlighter I have ever seen in my life, and it is the Essence Strobing highlighter in the shade Let It Glow, and it is also extremely powdery. I don't know if you can see, like, do you see? I mean, probably not. It almost looks like nothing on the skin. It's very, very minimal, the effect that it gives. I guess it just comes down to what you're looking for in a highlighter. Some people might really enjoy this because they do not like having the highlighty feel or look to them at all. But some people who really like their highlight to actually be evident on the skin, they might see this as completely useless and they might hate this. I am kind of somewhere in between. I like my highlight to be evident, but I like it to be more on the natural side so that you cannot see that it's like a streak of highlight on my face. I don't even need to use my e.l.f. brush to mush anything into the skin because there's almost nothing there. So anyway, moving on. This is the Bahama Mama Bronzer by theBalm. Because I've been so in love with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, I just don't reach for any other bronzer, to be honest. I did like it. It's a good bronzer. I just think that nothing compares to the butter bronzer, and that's why I don't really use it. But yeah, we're going to use it today to contour a bit. Although I don't really use blush, I just, for the fun of it, I want to use something that I haven't even seen in such a long time, and it is the Manizer sisters, aka the Luminizers, the trio with the Mary Lou, Cindy Lou, and the Betty Lou. And I want to use the shade Cindy, which is the more pinky, blushy tone. I think it's meant to be used like as a blush topper, but I mean, sometimes I used to use it just on its own because as I said, I don't really use blush all that much. So it's just an easier thing to pop on the cheeks. I should really start using this a lot more because it's such a good thing. I want to use something kind of on my whole face that, again, I was completely mental over at one point, but that I haven't reached for ever since I found the butter bronzer, and it is the Too Faced Soulmates Blushing Bronzer in the shade Carrie and Big. This is such an adorable thing, but I don't know. I mean, it's a nice looking bronzer. It's a beautifully warm toned, kind of gives you that nice goldeny warmth to the skin. As I said, I'm putting it all over because my foundation was slightly lighter than the rest of my body, so this is just to even out the skin tone. And now, as promised, last but not the least, we're going to do the lips. And oh gosh, I remember how much I used to use this back in the day. This is the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Athens. I'm not actually too crazy about the formula of these. They're okay, but the moussey texture is not necessarily my favorite when it comes to lip products. So yeah, just bear in mind that they can be quite drying. Oh gee, why is this so bright? You know what, I feel like it is too warm toned for this kind of mauvey eye look. So let me find something else. Okay, I think I found something that I haven't used in such a long time, but I do really like. I think it's a really good lipstick, and the formula is amazing. It is the Catrice Ultimate Matte Lipstick in the shade number 10. I want to go over it with the Milani. It's the Milani lipstick in the shade Innocence number 60. And this was it. This was the full face of products that I don't use. It was definitely a lot of fun to visit some of my old favorites, or something that I used to use quite a lot back in the day. I think the makeup turned out fine. I just enjoy the process a bit more with some of the other products that I use on a daily basis and that I find a bit more convenient and a bit more easy to use. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I promise that the next one will be a tutorial, probably something around the theme of autumn, because you know, that's the season that we're in right now. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!